Is there more to midlife than just getting through it? Absolutely. Welcome. I'm your host, Debbie Cunningham, jazz artist turned midlife mentor, and I'm here to say to you loud and clear, it's time for your midlife crescendo. Well, hey, welcome back, friends. We are 2/3 of the way through August as I record this. I hope if you have school-age kids or college kids or grandkids, they are safely and happily back in school. I'm well beyond the season of life where I was getting kids back in school, but I remember it well. So this is August, and this is my birthday month. I just turned 59 last week, and I'm excited. I don't mind being 59. I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm excited about moving forward. I'm really looking forward to this next decade, but I'll tell you about that later because the way I'm celebrating this month is by giving you an opportunity as a listener to be a big winner in gifts. I have a giveaway starting today, August 19th through August 30th. It's worth over $150 in value of products for midlife women. So if you want to enter online or just learn a little bit more about the prizes, you can go to midlifecrescendo.com or our Midlife Crescendo Instagram page, and you'll get all the information there. Now, here's the thing. There are multiple ways to get extra entries into the drawing because it's one big gift worth over $150. Actually, I think it's up to over $180. If you're interested in the products and want to see what we're giving away, go check that out. So I'm in the last year of my 50s. And whenever I hit the last year in a decade, I start to reflect and then think about the next decade. What have I accomplished? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want to spend my time this year? We all have the same amount of minutes and hours, but how are we spending those 24 hours a day? 1,440 minutes a day. And as the popular song says, 525,600 minutes in a year. I'd sing it, but then I'd be under copyright infringement, so can't do that today. I personally seek God for where He wants to pour through me to serve and to make the world a lovelier place. I think about what dreams and aspirations I've accomplished and what I still desire to pursue. Sometimes that changes, and sometimes I just add it to the list. Living midlife in crescendo to me is continuing to love my people well, get better at something, improve my skills, find another place to serve, and help others on their own journey of accomplishing their dreams too. That's my favorite thing. So coming this fall, my live workshop that I've done in the past, 4 Keys to Launch Your Dream, will now be packaged in a digital course for you to consume on demand. You can get all the trainings, the journal prompts, the workbook with my proprietary process to launch your own dreams, to finally work through that at your own pace instead of the normal 4-week format. That's all I'll say about it for now, but if you're interested, go to midlifecrescendo.com to learn more and get on the waiting list for a discount when it launches. Okay, now on with this week's episode. Okay, everybody, last week on the podcast, I did say we were going to talk about empty nest this week. However, I'm pushing that one more week because of an urgent situation that happened to us last weekend. It's applicable for your life too, and that's why I'm sharing the story of why we ended up in the emergency room and my thoughts about being prepared for the unexpected. Did my husband just have a stroke? Yes, that's exactly what I thought happened last weekend, friends. Terrifying for both of us. Saturday morning, Derek was mid-sentence and suddenly he couldn't finish it. He couldn't access his words, and I immediately looked to see if there were other signs of a stroke. Do you know what they are? face drooping, weakness on one side of the body, severe headache, trouble walking, blurred vision, or slurred speech. Nothing else but a sudden inability to communicate. That's all I saw. His speech was not even slurred, but he could not finish a sentence. Something was wrong, and I knew it. I gave him a baby aspirin as a precaution. After a quick text to a nursed friend, off to the ER we went. It's amazing all the what ifs that run through your head when something unexpected happens, especially if it's potentially life-threatening. The hospital is 15 minutes away, and I prayed for him all the way there. I did manage to hold it together until I had to say to the emergency room registration clerk, "I think my husband has had a mild stroke." Then the tears welled in my eyes. In my heart, I whispered a prayer to God that He would keep me calm and that He would give the doctors and nurses wisdom. They called the triage unit, and into the triage we went. Lots of questions I had to answer for him, and then lots of tests. A CT scan, an MRI, an echocardiogram. Oh my! They admitted him a few hours later. In the lobby was a dear friend praying and checking on me while we waited. Our prayer group came later and prayed over him too. Those are gifts of time and presence I so appreciated in this moment of distress. Every scan came back clear, with no sign of stroke. A TIA, or transient ischemic attack, was the diagnosis. Basically, they don't know what caused it, but his speech that was gone for more than 24 hours finally returned, and he was able to come home. The peace I asked God for came, by the way, and also undergirded that 24 hours of chaos in such a palpable way. It was astounding. All of the staff at Williamson County Medical Center were also stellar, and I am eternally grateful to them. Now, why am I sharing such a vulnerable part of our week with all of you? This whole experience reminded me how important planning for the unexpected is. Last week on the podcast, we talked about the importance of a will and power of attorney forms. You can go back and listen to that if you missed it, because attorney Daryl Cunningham gave excellent information that you need to know when you're considering getting a will. I know this is not a comfortable conversation to have. No one likes to talk about what is going to happen after we pass. But you want to have all of your ducks in a row, don't you? So your spouse, your kids, or whoever you are bequeathing your things to doesn't have to have a frantic search for what they actually need. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Do you have a will? Unless you want the government deciding for you, or worse, confiscating your assets, even if you think your assets are small, you need a will. Your loved ones need one to distribute your assets where you decide you want them to go. Do you have a checking savings account, a life insurance policy, retirement saving accounts like 401k or IRA? You need to check your beneficiaries on those accounts too. If you are divorced, you need to change the beneficiary from your ex-spouse to your children or whatever family members you want the beneficiaries to be on those accounts. Sometimes in divorce, one forgets to do that. But Derek and I have a will. What was swirling through my brain besides praying for his healing was, am I prepared? Of course, one is never completely prepared for a life-altering event. However, I'm a planner, and so I ask myself these questions regularly. These are my top 4 questions you need to ask yourself, ladies, now in case of an emergency later. Do you know where the passwords are to all of your financial accounts. Not just bank accounts, but credit cards and investing accounts. Now, if you are single, divorced, or widowed, you probably do know the answer to all of these questions. But do your kids or another trusted family member know where to get this info should you become incapacitated? Do you know how to access all of your accounts? If you are withdrawing from retirement accounts right now, if you're retired, do you know how to withdraw that money for yourself? Do you know how to access your spouse's bill paying calendar if they normally pay the bills? Do you have access to the email the digital bills go to? Is there anything you wouldn't know how to do should your spouse pass away or become incapacitated? Now, if you are single, divorced, or widowed, you probably know the answers to all of these questions because most likely you handle all of this yourself. However, do your kids or another trusted family member know where to get this info should you become incapacitated? A lawyer, perhaps? If you have your own business and you become incapacitated in some way, like not being able to communicate, is there someone who can run your business, pay those bills, and communicate with your clients? Have you set up that chain of command? These, my friends, are questions we need to know the answers to. It's easy in a relationship, a marriage especially, to rely on each other's strength. I take care of certain things and he takes care of certain things. But this was a startling reminder. Do I know how to do all of those things without relying on him? Of course, I can do them, but I never do them. So I just have to ask you, do you know? If you don't, please put this on your priority to-do list this week. Put a reminder on your calendar, on your phone, until you get it done. Then you'll have peace of mind knowing that you are as prepared as you can possibly be. If you have never done this, now is the time. I'm grateful my husband is okay and he's recovering at home. He's feeling much better and he has all of his words. Maybe too many. I'm just kidding. But it was a good reminder to both of us to be mindful of what the other does and to make sure that we can step into those roles should we need to. Another thing that would be helpful is having a specific contact list in an emergency on your phone. Who are you going to contact? Are there parents, siblings, friends, or a church you need to contact for prayer or support? Having all of this in one place so that you can type a quick text or an email to those you want to inform is so helpful. Derek is the youngest of 6 and a part of a big, caring, supportive family, but it took me 24 hours to get to all of them to let them know what was happening. You have to decide who your support people are. But in a crisis, there's no mental bandwidth. You are often in fight or flight, getting your loved one to the care that they need and thinking through who needs to be notified, and that's difficult. Having that in a list on your phone is so beneficial. Just another way to be a little more prepared for the unexpected, friend. Hopefully, you'll never need it. Okay, friends, did you know the average age of a stroke patient is in the 70s? And strokes are most common among people in their 90s, but a stroke can happen at any age. My husband is only 60. Granted, he didn't have a stroke, but it presented as a stroke. Still, it was good for me to know the signs to look for. Do you remember what they are? Use the word FAST as an acronym to spot a stroke. Face. F for face drooping. Does one side of the face droop or is it numb? Ask the person to smile. Is the person's smile uneven? A. Arm weakness. Is one arm weak or numb? Ask the person to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S. Speech difficulty. Is the speech slurred? Do they have trouble speaking? T. If so, it's time to call 911. Stroke is an emergency, and every minute counts. It's best to call 911 immediately if you suspect a stroke. Note the time when any of the symptoms first appear. I hope you found this as a helpful reminder. Don't wait for the chaos to show up before you get prepared. Okay, next week on the podcast, I promise we will talk about empty nest, all the emotions, the changes, and even more, the new possibilities in this season of life. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember, midlife is just a brand new season to find your passion and purpose for your grand finale. Talk next week.